Alright guys, so here we are again playing as the Soviet Union, and let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on. Well, in the last turns I reorganized the Southern Front. You can see down here, that I've moved most of my units away from the front lines. The reason for this is I'm planning to put garrison divisions all on the front lines, and this makes up the core of my defensive strategy. Is the idea that the garrison divisions will form the main line, and then the actual infantry units, the regular army units, will be reserve units that move in to, you know, do what they do and stuff. But for this turn I'm going to do a little bit of reorganizing for the northern front. And then at the end we'll discuss some crazy stuff that has to go on for next turn, which will be turn 5. And I'll talk about that at the end. So I may or may not cut this out, just so that it's not so boring. So bear with me. So the next turn, the turn will end on October 1st at midnight, 1936. Alright folks, so it's almost September, which means I have a month left of this turn, and go ahead and show you exactly what I did with this turn in the previous 2 months. I left them out because I didn't want it to be boring. In fact, these first few turns are always going to be boring because it's pretty much me preparing for war and stuff like that. As you can see now, the front, not the front, the northern theater. The Northern Theater, Stavka, has been reorganized, and I've moved into the reserve army system, which I'm using for the south. I reorganized all the way from Minsk all the way up to Leningrad, so it should still fit with my little plan. You can see I use the same nomenclature system, and that really helps me when assigning individual brigades to divisions, as well as when maneuvering divisions. In the south, I've begun building the defensive line. You can see that I've begun construction of land forts in the south around Ilyichivsk, I think. Ilyichivsk. Not sure how to pronounce that. In addition, there's 2 garrison divisions and then 1 corps HQ division. Well, it's technically right now just a headquarters brigade, but I'm going to outfit each headquarters brigade with additional garrison brigades and stuff like that to make sure that they're ready to go. I've created a separate new Army command and Army group structure for the garrison units. Yeah. Pretty much the only thing I have left is each garrison, each individual corps is going to be automated to protect the specific territory that I'm assigning it to. And I'll go ahead and start with these 2. So watch closely. I don't, for the purpose of the lines, I don't automate them on the Army or the Army group level. I automate them from the corps level, and I think this gives me a greater range of control. And that's me just assigning to that corps to stay in that territory. So and then I'll do the same with the other corps. see it, they're pretty much not going to move, and they're going to do their best to try to hold that territory should it come under attack. And I'm going to do that with every corps, and in addition, I'm going to try to give every corps its own fighter wing, to, like an interceptor wing. So we'll see how that goes. As you can see, they attempted to move for a second, but then they realized, I guess the computer kicked in and realized that they needed to stay put. And, yeah, I mean, they stayed put, and all I have to do now is, if a war comes along, assign leaders where I need them, and then maneuver my reserve armies in support of the defensive line. I can also, you'll be able to see when we actually go to war, I can actually shift the line around pretty much by assigning new strategic targets and taking away from previous strategic targets. As you can see, they're not really doing anything, and we've made a few technological improvements. I'm really not going to go over those too much. I know we only made one, other than the small arms. We made 2 doctrine improvements, small arms, light tank engine, and then while I was fixing the northern theater, Stavka theater, we also had a supply production increase. And yeah, that was that. In terms of militia, in terms of their weaponry, it really is important for me to make sure that militia is kind of up on their weaponry, and there's a specific reason I'm doing that, is because the garrison units individually, each one of the garrison brigades uses militia, support weapons, anti-tank, etc., to to determine their power. In addition, as we get closer to the German invasion, I'm going to create 2 more reserve armies made up of militia reserves, and that way, when the actual war comes, I won't need to produce militia outright; they'll already be produced. In addition to whatever offensive armies I build. Because I noticed one thing is, you really do need large strategic reserves in order to cope with the Nazi blitzkrieg, in order to slow it down. Otherwise, they will pierce your front line and probably a second line, So, it's very, very possible that you lose the war simply because you only prepared one line, And you need that second line, which would be, in this case, maybe a group of militia or what have you. You need that second line to be able to hold, so that the remnants, the survivors of the first line, can retreat behind them and reorganize, then re-support that line. So. But you definitely need that militia army in existence before the before the Germans invade, because they won't give you enough time to produce militia. I've noticed that. And now that it is September 25th, we have 5 days left of this turn. I want to go ahead and talk about some things that are happening outside of the turn, outside of the game. Firstly, we are currently having a contest to design or to come up with ideas for future contests. This is literally because I'm not really creative, or at least I didn't feel like being creative at the time. So, come up with your ideas. The only thing I ask is that you take, 1 minute or 2 minutes and make a little YouTube video in response to either this video or the actual contest video, and I'll go ahead and link that right here so that you can visit the contest video. Take 1 or 2 minutes to come up with an idea, to post it in a video, make the video a video response, and you'll be entered into the contest. I think it's March 10th. No, not March, excuse me, May 10th that I decide who has won the contest, and the winner will get the first winner will get two prizes. He'll get in the mail. He'll get a foil Magic the Gathering card from the recent set Dark Ascension. He'll get a foil Grimgrin card. A foil Grimgrin card, and then he'll also get a $20 gift certificate to Red Lobster, and that will happen hopefully before July or whatever. The second runner-up will also get a Red Lobster gift card, and Red Lobster and the 3 other restaurants. We haven't had anyone enter the contest yet, and I really am not surprised by this because we don't have that much of a viewer base yet. So yeah, you can pretty much win pretty easy. It's a pretty good prize actually. I think I'd participate. So go ahead and check that out. Alright, the last thing that I want to talk about is Persia here. Now I've paid like no attention to this theater whatsoever, and that's because they really don't, really 2 cores is enough to deal with any invasion they might try to launch. But you're going to see in the next coming weeks I'm going to start preparing, a 1st or 2nd Red Army in these areas to invade Iran. So probably next week we'll have another vote on military intervention in Iran to prevent it from falling under Axis control. Historically, there was military intervention. There was an Iranian invasion right after the Soviet Union entered the war. Britain came from the south, and the Soviet Union came from the north, and it was the first operation in which they worked together, and this was pretty much to deny the Nazis access to Iranian oil. But for the purpose of our game, I'm going to go ahead and make that invasion happen pretty dang early. So we'll probably be voting on that next week. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this turn, so I'm going to go ahead and let this timer run out and then pause it and save it. Thanks for watching, guys, and leave me a comment and subscribe. Peace out.